Today we will be covering ALS organization and advocacy. Firstly, let's take a look at which major organizations work to fight ALS. The main one is the ALS Association.
They are the largest philanthropic funder of ALS research in the world, supporting projects around the globe with the highest potential impact for people living with ALS and their caregivers, according to their website, which is als.org.
They have a local ALS center finder, and the nearest ALS centers are AHN ALS Center in Pittsburgh and University of Pitt Medical Center ALS Center, which is also in Pittsburgh.
They provide information on local support groups as well. There's also a lot of caregiver support groups because it can be hard to handle heavy stuff like that every day. Their mission is to make ALS livable and cure it.
There's also the Les Turner ALS Foundation, which holds a walk of life. They are the biggest ALS organization in the Midwest. Les Turner was a man who was diagnosed with ALS at age 36. After he died, his friends and family created this foundation in honor of him that raises a lot of money for research and also has a very educational YouTube channel.
Target ALS is a non-profit foundation that focuses on accelerating drug discoveries for ALS, specifically effective treatments. They are dedicated to breaking down barriers to research in the fight against ALS, which is right off their website. Their vision or mission is to create a world where everyone lives, where breakthroughs in ALS research lead to effective treatments that give those living with ALS and their families the hope and future that they deserve. They have around 6 different cores, which is like the hub of the research in it. And they have longitudinal biofluids core, which is interesting because they're trying to find a biomarker for ALS, which is something that indicates that you have like a disease or something through bodily fluid, like how you can get blood work to see if there's something wrong with you, or like you can get a spinal tap to see if you have like meningitis. But they currently diagnose ALS with muscle and nerve tests, so they're looking at like cerebrospinal fluid, blood, and urine for potential bioindicators, which is good for research. They have human postmortem tissue research, which they didn't have a massive amount of information on that on the website, but I think it's implicit that they're just looking at like the tissues of people who have died with ALS and people who haven't to see kind of what the difference in the tissue is. They have stem cell research, which they're trying to make all of this research accessible to others in the field, which is very admirable. And the stem cell research right now consists of them trying to find a good textbook stem cell for ALS to use as a model for everyone else to study. They have a reagent research core, and this one is the most interesting one to me because they seem to have developed an antibody to the dipeptide protein that is present in the pathogenesis of ALS, which sounds like a lot of science jargon, but basically whenever ALS starts, it starts because a protein folds wrong, because a genetic code is telling it to fold wrong. They seem to have developed something that will make the protein not fold wrong, which is big. Like that's huge. So that seems really promising to finding a preventative cure for ALS. And they also said on the website that they use animal models, which they aren't working with right now, so they didn't have much information on it. And all this information is from the For Scientists tab on the Target ALS website. And I just went through and read it all because I like that kind of stuff. But they were, like, in all of their cores, they were giving information to scientists on how to obtain, like, lab samples and stuff so they can do their own research because they want to make this accessible for everyone to get research if they have the funding for it, which is very, very progressive and good for ALS research. So how can individuals get involved in ALS advocacy and research?
Individuals can get involved by participating in a walk drive through the ALS Foundation, compete to defeat, or attending a distinguished event. Donating to the foundation itself, donating to a fundraising event, or even volunteering as well can all be ways to get involved.
So right here we have the Carmen Schentrup ALS Research Fund, and her life was tragically taken from her in a shooting, and she wanted to grow up to do ALS research and be a research scientist for ALS, and unfortunately that dream was taken away from her. So her family decided to put together this research fund where you can donate to it and they will send the money out to, in Carmen's honor, help further ALS research since she wasn't able to do it herself.
Finally, we have one new advancement in ALS research, which is a drug therapy treatment that works to block the gene mutation that causes the misfolded proteins that cause ALS.
This drug is called tofersen, and like Elena just said, it works by blocking the gene mutation that causes the misfolded proteins that cause ALS, and that is very important because it can help people that have ALS, or like I said before, it could be like a preventative measure if you know that you have the gene mutation that could potentially cause you to obtain ALS. So here are our sources page. They're in MLA9 format, and we hope you enjoyed.